Well, hello to our new listeners. Thanks for joining. And to our returning guests, welcome back. Welcome to season 6 of the More Sibyl podcast. My name is Mo. In this season, like you've been used to, get ready for more amazing stories, more inspirational stories to help you set your stories free. I created this podcast as a resource for Blacks, Asians, and those who love them to share stories and processes, as well as to build community around important salient issues that affect all of us as humans. So on this show, you get to hear amazing stories from people like you who show us how to get more out of life. The stories featured here are by people whose journey I am partly inspired by, as well as challenged by, but most importantly, people whose courage and vulnerability have afforded us an opportunity to hear their life stories. And I hope you find them as inspiring. Now enjoy the show, and don't forget to share this episode and the other ones. All right. So, welcome back, Bimpe. And welcome back to our listeners. For those who are joining us for the first time, welcome back. This is Mo from the More Sibyl podcast. If you don't know my friend Bimpe, you are in for a treat. We've done several episodes together, and I love her. She's been a great friend of mine since I was in my teens and, when we were younger. And she currently lives in Minnesota. She has a dog called Jackie, and she's one of the good people, one of the good ones. So sometime this month of June 2023, Bimpe sent me a message on the WhatsApp, and she was like, have you mentioned the person's name who was the director of a screenwriter for this particular movie? Have you seen this person's movie? And I'm like, number one, who's the person? Number two, what movie? And then she was like, she did that snarky thing, Google is your friend. But I don't know if Bimpe, she knows that one, I have a very, very low tolerance for certain kinds of movies. Okay, this is why I see it. As a Nigerian, I hardly watch Nigerian movies. And I think it's similar for most people. Like my Korean friends a lot of them don't even like Korean dramas. I think the similarities and just a reminder of your day-to-day life is just it's too overwhelming. You seek an escape. For me, when I watch movies, I want to seek an escape. Is why I get drawn to other movies that are non-Nigerians. Plus the Nigerian ones, most of them just get on my nerves. Like I see so much and it doesn't make for a good viewing experience for anyone beside me. But when she said, have you seen the movie? Knowing Bimpe, I'm like, she knows my preferences, and I know Bimpe is not one to just, tell you to go see something. I mean, she didn't say go see it, but I knew it meant to go see it. So I did the logical thing for someone that is under peer pressure. I went on Google, Amazon Prime, and I watched it, and I almost cried watching that movie. And the reason I almost cried, and which is very close, the reason I didn't cry was because I kept thinking of you in particular and those, I guess because I was thinking a lot as I was watching it. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is how Bimpe must have felt. And so I didn't want to just cry and just take away from the experience. But I was in the moment with you and, a couple of my friends that I know have that similar thing. And that's why I reached out to Bimpe, I know how you feel now. Like a little bit how you feel, and we talked about it. So today we are talking about the movie called Sista.
Yep.
So the episode of this podcast, the title for this episode will be Sista Bimpe. Because, man, it's on Amazon Prime. And for those who don't know how, the way they spell it, if you spell Sista on Amazon Prime, it's going to bring out a lot. It has to be Sista, as in Sista. There's Tyler Perry's Sista. You don't want that one. You want the Sista with the accents, like the tonation marks. But we'll put it in the show notes with some tonation marks. We'll put the link on the show notes so that way you can get. And it's actually not a super new movie. It actually came out last year, but I don't know why all of a sudden it became like a buzz. But yeah,
and it's so I think with Nigerian movies, it's always delayed. The release on Amazon Prime is always delayed.
The transcription and maybe licensing and cross-cultural referencing. Who knows? Who knows? Because I noticed that some of the translations, I'm like, that's not what it says, But again, I get it.
No, but she did a fantastic job with that. It was almost verbatim. Right. She did a fantastic job.
And this is why I see
compared with other people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some things will be lost. Even when I watch Korean dramas, right? and they are translating in English. There's some things you can't convey with English words. It's
it's
just you lose
hard.
a lot of syntax. Yes.
Yeah.
But let's talk about. I mean, where do we even start from, Bimpe? Where do you want to start from? Because I'm
from the very beginning. The beginning of the matter.
I've had such a long day, and then it took us like 20 minutes to get this call started. So thanks for the comic relief. All right, I'm gonna let you just go for it, and I'll tag along with it because this is your episode, No pressure.
Okay, so for me, hi guys. It's lovely to be back here again, Mo. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me again, Tolani. It's really nice to be back. Yeah, so for me, the first, I think the movie was just a whole lot for me. It was. So the first part that actually spoke to me was so similar to what I experienced was that scene where should we maybe we don't.
At this point, I haven't watched it. I did this. I'm sorry, but you know what? Why not just pause this and then go watch it and then come back, because we're gonna be spoiling. Hell, spoilers ahead of you. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So since we've already given that disclaimer that it's gonna be
yes. Pause it here and go watch it and come back.
Okay. So for me, the first part that took me down memory lane was that part where Sista went to Mrs. Uzo's house.
I remember that was the part where I lost it, because I know you've gone through that exactly.
Yeah.
Girl.
No, girl, I was not a cleaner, okay?
Not a cleaner, no, but being accused. Oh, no, being accused of something. I remember in the church thing you told me about.
No. Yeah, that one.
I know
so,
now. I didn't mean the cleaner part.
Silly.
Yeah. Okay.
I was missing.
Girl.
Yeah, so anyway, so that part where, that just being accused falsely and how easy it is for someone of a higher who's of a
higher status,
higher status, socioeconomic status, is quick to always assume that because you're poor you have to be a thief, or because you're not.
We're not. Doesn't mean we don't have values,
Yeah, or we don't have morals,
Morals,
so anyway,
exactly.
yeah. So that threw me. I was ready to box that. But that what's her name? Oh, is it Nze? Blessing, is that Blessing?
Which one? Who are you talking about?
No, that's not her. The lady who acted as
Kendi Bankole. Oh, Uzo. Can't remember her name.
Blessing Nze or something.
Yeah.
The Nzes, I think. Anyway, that lady, she's always. I mean, she's on point. Whatever part. No, that's not her name.
Okay, Jessica Obasi Nze.
Nze.
Blessing. Jessica.
I don't know her name. Blessing. I think her name is Blessing.
Blessing. Yeah. Jessica Obasi Nze.
Nze. So I love her because she embodies her role. I mean, I want to do it. Walk out to her. Like, how dare
when they're really in character.
Right. She always eats her character. I mean, that lady's always on point. Anyway, I like her.
Even though as she was entering, and I know for most of us who carry that carefulness, because I remember when I was even growing up, when I entered places,
she refused to enter without inventorying.
No, now let's enter. And she was still telling them, I cannot enter. Even as she was leaving, you can see that all she had on her was the bucket and her cleaning stuff. Yeah, she waited. She waited,
She waited. The lady, she came in, she was pressed, and she was like, oh, no, you can go. And she dismissed her. She was like, no, auntie, I will wait for inventorying. Just trying to make sure that she crosses her T's and she dots her I's. Yeah. And then it still backfires because she's of a lower socioeconomic status. It's so annoying. Anyway, so going back to that story, and the story.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to go into it in this episode.
I mean, you were accused wrongly, and it was.
Yeah, I was, and just because at the time, thank God for where we are now. I mean, we're not where we ought to be, but we're not where we used to be. But then, things were not rosy. I mean, I'm not going to go into details because, again, I would love for us to have a separate episode
you need like
on that.
three-part episode, girl.
Right. So for me, that was the first part. Just, it's not nice. And I see it even now, even here in the US, where, just because you're black, people just assume that, oh no, you have to be a thief or
when you're in a store and they start keep following you about. Not because they think you're lost.
Right. And they come back, do you need help?
No. Sorry. Please.
Let me tell you, the one that got to me when I went to that, what store did I go to? I can't remember. And this lady kept following me around. I was so mad. I said, look, I'm sure Amy Mongari, first of all.
I pay your salary, meaning that's in English. So I know Yoruba speakers.
Like it's so I see it even in this culture where just based on the color of your skin, you're less than. And so so for me that was the first one that really got me going in that movie. It threw me all the way back to that, experience when I don't know how old I was. I was in my 20s. I think I was 21 or 22 when that happened to me.
What's the outcome of yours?
She never really,
did they really apologize?
She didn't really apologize. Nope, she did not. And that's the thing. This whole spiritual relationship or whatever. And then you're just bullying people, and then you're just taking advantage of people who are less than, in quote. It's not nice. Wherever you find yourself in life, and that's the lesson. Wherever you find yourself in life, never underestimate anyone, and don't treat people nice. Treat people the way you want to be treated. You know what? I take it back because sometimes people don't even know. People don't know how to treat themselves nice. They're mean to themselves, so of course they're going to be mean to other people. Anyway, so that was the first part. I mean that movie was. And
I even said that from the beginning. I didn't know who was going to be the main star of the movie, like because the story was kind of like, okay, who am I supposed to be focusing on? Because Kehinde Balogun, I think that's her name, right? The main actress. Sorry, I know I was going to mix it up. Yeah. She's super pretty. I mean, she's won a lot of beauty pageants.
Oh my God.
But in that role, she was just plain.
And she's a twin.
She's a twin, of course. Mm-hmm. I mean, her name. So for those that don't know, Kehinde is a name for a dyadic twin. So Kehinde is one. For Yorubas, most Yorubas will go by that. And then Taiwo, if you recall, my husband's name is Taiwo, so he's a twin. And, but she was just, I'm like, number one, I haven't seen any of her movie before then. That was my first time seeing her movie.
Oh no, she ate it. Like, she embodied it. Like, she owned it.
At the point, it felt like I wasn't even watching a movie. It felt like I was eavesdropping on a conversation. It was even... And I imagine she went off script so many times. Like, even her nuances, like... You know?
And then she would just...
Yeah. There was one thing she said. They what? My shit were following me.
She literally... Oh gosh, no.
It reminded me of, I grew up, I know where I grew up now, Shomolu, right? It reminded me of just one auntie that has had it. Like today, me and you will enter the same shokoto. We'll enter the same place. Yes. I will show you shege today. And I mean, it was really good. It brought a lot of, I don't know. I have this the way I look at my childhood sometimes, I look at it like an active participant, but also like a bystander. Mm-hmm. Those stories are like, almost like composite of things people have gone through, where the way I grew up and being exposed to so many things in life at a very young age. But that, difference between haves and have-nots. And then for both of us, where we lived was a stark contrast to where we went to school. And the people we interacted with is like...
We interact, Who has died outside of school? Thank God for school uniform.
My dear... My dear, I haven't been able to grow up.
The breeze will have blown the chicken's bum.
How many do you want to? How many baths or clothes you want to be every day?
The contesting with people that
I had classmates that went to the US like it was nothing. This was 1990s, They traveled. Meanwhile, for me to even get to Ikorodu to go and see my grandmother, I mean, my parents could afford that. I mean, that was the best they could afford. Yeah. Or send me to Oshobo to go and see my cousin, But man, there was always that clear line. Even when what they would bring to school, like for their lunches, or whenever they come back from holidays, the books, I'm not talking about primary school. I've not even reached secondary school, girl. I'm still talking about primary schools, the novels. My saving grace was I was very smart, so I would trade. Like, I'll help you with your assignment, give me your books. And these guys didn't like to read, so they'll just give me all of their novels, which I would read and read and read. And, I would do the assignment for them. But I was able to live vicariously through them, and the way I love them just took so many things for granted. But
For granted.
yes. But you know what? Life is just. I mean, look at us now. Look at where we are. Right? We are far away from.
And we're not even there yet.
Yeah, we're not even there yet. We're not even there.
God is not on with us. He's not.
So let's shift gear a little bit. Now we've talked about the premise of it. I think for me, in addition to how Bankole, who played the role of Vicky or Sista, she was very authentic, right?
Very.
And she stayed true to her character. There's something that a lot of Yoruba movies, and this wasn't like a Yoruba movie, let me just call it Nigerian movie, but we have to be specific because the Yoruba characters were mostly there.
Yeah.
Was that there's this thing they do when they transition from scene to scene. They will either put like this cheesy music, maybe by Tope Alabi, or they'll show a building, or somebody but this one, I didn't even notice the transition. Because I was
Biodun Steven.
She's good.
No, she is.
She's good.
I don't know. We need to congratulate our Oga. She got freedom.
I tagged her on Instagram, and she actually she reposted my tag on that. Like, it was also yes. She was she switched, Vicky's character switched from English, Pidgin, and Yoruba, and there was something just resonated with my soul. Like, it was so natural, it was unforced, and it felt like I was just in a fly on the wall, just, swinging back and forth discreetly.
It was seamless.
It was
seamless. I mean, she's a fantastic producer. There's no movie that woman will produce I will not watch you.
I'm gonna have to go see. I'm gonna go see more.
She's good. She's good. So going back to the movie, so that first part where that guy abandoned the lady, I broke down. Because I didn't break down for myself. I broke down on behalf of
your
my
mom.
mother.
Okay, do you wanna this is a big reveal for us, because this is this almost like the center of your story. And Biodun actually came on Instagram. Let me call her Mrs. Biodun because she deserves some respect. Madam Biodun. She came on Instagram and said Sista's story is, her mom had some experiences that mirrored Sista's story. Not all of them, but you can tell that for you to craft that kind of story, there has to be,
it's personal.
It's personal, right? Now, it might not be 100% personal, but it's a composite of experiences. So let's save your big reveal to the very end, because I think that's like a totally new comment. Before we get to that point, let's talk about some other things that came out for you when you watched that movie. And I can get us started. Okay, you have one?
Okay, yeah, no, go ahead.
I think... And I don't even know how to say this, because I feel like I might be in trouble. I might be in trouble with the way I say it, but let me just put it out there and then I can adjust it. It is when we parentify a child. Vicky wasn't perfect by any means. Neither was her, absentee husband or baby father. But her kids, like calling her son, like, you're my husband,
my second husband,
is what I have. And I feel like when there's a fracture in the home, by fracture I mean when there's like a parent missing or
a dysfunction.
Yes, there's so much pressure on the children, especially the males or even the daughter sometimes, to assume a role that is like I wasn't even there when you guys signed this. Why am I the one paying for it? So I think they run a risk, because I imagine if they were to do a follow-up movie with those kids, they may have their own trauma as well. Because
I'm sure they will.
So I think that mommy wound, and there were almost like there was no day she didn't have to remind them. Sure, you had only two. Four of us, and there were four eyes that had...
Four eyes gone. Two eyes.
No, two eyes remain. All of a sudden, the boy has to become the source of joy for the mother. And, because even sometimes when the parents are still together, you find the child becoming the emotionally and physically available. Say, for example, if the husband isn't physically or emotionally available, the son becomes a conflict. I have a friend today who's going through a lot of that wounds because her mom spilled so much to her when she was younger. All the things she shouldn't have even known. And it's creating a lot of trauma now that she's an adult. Like, she knew so much about the father, about, just...
It's not necessary.
And then you start conforming your life to always please mom. I have to suppress my emotion because mom has to be happy. And even when I think when one of the kids came back from school and they were talking about, I forget what the incident was, but you could tell that they had to defer to mom because at the end of the day, mom was the law of the house. That was one thing that I saw that I was like, we need to talk about parentifying a child.
Yeah, but So there's that. But see, I didn't experience that. Surprisingly, I did
really?
not. I did not. My mom raised us to be super independent. And at the same time, she was very strict. So I think back on it, I'm like, how did she
do
manage?
it?
How did she do it? I sometimes wonder. But she by herself. So I didn't experience. So for me, it was everything I did or everything I felt in that situation was all me. It wasn't what my mother said to me. My mom protected my father, and I just irritated the heck out of me.
I remember when you say, "Bye-bye, I see your father. You have to hunt."
So my mom, I can't. So my mom is not. She's not a typical single parent.
Yeah.
Because so I learned how to forgive people through my mom, and just the things that she went through and how she just easily would get over things, and I'm still there struggling. And it's not even me that they offended you. So again, just going back to that, my mom, so for me it was different. Growing up, I didn't experience the whole, my only source of joy. I don't know my mom. So so that's one of the things I even till tomorrow, I still worry about my mom. I worry about her own fulfillment. I think she just worries.
You think she gave up, right?
Yeah. No, not just that. Just that she didn't, like in that situation, how she didn't get her own comforting. I got mine. My mom did not. And even till now, I wish she would remarry, but that's another conversation. But yeah.
Is she still interested in it?
Excuse you.
Is she still interested in it?
Yeah, I'm spending it for her. I want that to have companionship. I don't care what they do together, but it's just companionship. Yeah, nobody should be alone, really.
Yeah.
No matter how old you are, you shouldn't be alone. Anyway, so going back to just what you brought up, I don't. So when you're in that situation, you're, like you said, what was the term that you used? Parentifying your child. Yeah. So I guess it happens. And children in that situation, they feel that it's their responsibility to then act right, do right. Because again, they see their mom struggle. But then it also helps them to be responsible. They grow up quickly, yes.
But at what cost? I think as best as we can, let's shield them from the things they shouldn't know, right? You don't want the child to grow up so quickly and then they are robbed of their childhood. So I don't,
because it's your mess.
Yes, it's your mess.
Yeah, they had nothing to do with it.
And I think it's also emphasized the importance of mental health. Seeking help. Because if they had gone for therapy, especially Vicky herself, again, that's one. And another thing that
one letter that after a while was irritating me.
Wait, I'm not even done.
One letter. God, get over it.
There was one. Another thing that I saw was, and this one, I'm on this table, partially on this table. Let me explain why.
Okay.
So when they were still doing their campus love, right? And I think most women that can do stuff on that table, where you take on so much like the superwoman role, right? You're heavily pregnant. You're going out there cooking and doing all the stuff. I mean, he's preparing for exams, but you didn't even give him something else to do. You kind of took charge of everything.
She took over.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, the guy just learned to, take and take and take and take. And
to the very end,
of course, making it easy for him to just walk away. I mean, what he did was really nasty. I mean, 2 kids. Excuse me. It took 2 to make those kids. When you were doing
and she was even pregnant.
Exactly, heavily pregnant. And then you, like a coward, in the middle of the night, you left the letter and then left.
Did you get my letter? Uncle? Really? Anyway.
You know what?
Yeah, it was an emotional. I cried there. Hey, but the second time I watched it for the purpose of this podcast, sort of happening. No, I did, but it wasn't the tears. It wasn't like the first time. Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, an emotional shaking. I cried. I cried so much, and I wasn't just crying. Again, my nature is to. Growing up, they called me Defender of the Universe, Voltron, right? So I just was crying for
Your mom,
the pain my mother went. Yeah, my
that
mom.
she never
The things that
never even talked about.
Yeah. And then, let's talk about that, the wife. And, when she went on about, I'm confident in myself as a woman.
Which one of them?
I'm not frightened. The wife, Bisola.
She was so over realistic, I beg. But go ahead. Nah. They should have, I don't know. That part for me felt it was swiftly done. But it's okay. A movie can't be 100% perfect. The way she came around so quickly, I'm like, no. No.
Well, did she come around quickly though?
Yeah, I think they had to summarize it because the movie was already getting too long.
Exactly.
I get it, but my goodness, like...
No, I don't know, but just using your mind now. I don't think that she came around quickly. I just think that she's a very mature person.
I beg you, which maturity help? If my friend I'm married to and you're married 2 kids, are you kidding me?
What a kilo mashi.
Number one, the way I'm going to look at you, it's not going to be the same. It's going to take therapy.
That's what she did, though.
I know, it's going to take therapy and then talking about like what exactly happened, because my goodness, that means she can work out as us anytime. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
But she did that.
I know, but it was almost like it's almost like I ordered you Bolly, but then you say you didn't want. It was that kind of conversation, like, no, like I would be so mad and furious about it. I didn't see that anger in her. That's what I'm saying. I didn't see the.
Eventually, it's just she's a control. I mean, again, the background is that I think that she grew up in money. It's just a different feel.
Different. This is somebody. I mean, what I would say that I like how she finish yourself.
Oh, I'm just trying to.
Bro, because why am I even crying more than the bereaved self?
Yeah, so there was something that she said. When she was crying, when she was narrating the whole incident to her cousin, the Hausa lady, right? And then she went on to say, "Oh, my kids, they went to the best schools, and these ones, their mother, is struggling to feed them and all that." And so I remember there's a story that stands out. That part, I remember this particular story. My father's 60th birthday, mind you, same street. So if we're going to use an American description of how we describe our streets, so like maybe like 3 blocks away from us or 4 blocks.
So in miles,
so it's
like,
not
3 miles.
Actually, that's a lie. 2 blocks.
Like 0.1 mile. Like very, very walkable.
Yeah. If I speed, it will land in my grandmother's house. It will have land, like literally, it would land. It won't. And then my father would go past our house, and then it would go to his mother's house. And so anyway, it was the 60th birthday, and that's how we heard bang 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 on the door. And it turned out to be a nosy neighbor from my grandmother's house. And I don't know for the life of me why she could not pronounce Isaiah. Always say, it's Sikaya. That's a whole nother conversation. Anyway, this woman knocks on the door. I think I opened it, or maybe my immediate older brother opened it. And then, Sikaya, love by daddy on being paid or something like, daddy on Biola or something like that. Oh, you're not attending the birthday party of the father of your children? And I felt like the ground should just open up and swallow me. Because we knew about the birthday, but we were not invited. Do you know how that feels?
Okay,
like it's one thing to not, and it was the same street, so it's a long boulevard.
And I know Nigeria, they will have blocked the road. I shall be.
No, they did it at St. Jude's. It was at St. Jude's church, and it was a big party. We were not invited. It was literally like from my house to St. Jude's, maybe about 15 minutes walk, and we were not invited. And we knew, it wasn't like we didn't know about the party. So yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your family structure. I think this is let's talk about as comfortably as you can talk about it. Let's talk about when your parents met and how the family was formed, because maybe it might provide more context to why your dad could just walk in front of your house and not even stop by and say, "Hey, we're having a party." And I know there's so many layers to your story with your other siblings and
so I won't talk about the other
no,
part.
just, just focus on like as comfortably as you can talk about, because I don't want to have a vulnerability hangover. Like, oh my God, I shed so much. So I'm just gonna listen to you talk.
Yeah, so my mom, again in the Yoruba culture, people can have more than one wives, as more than one wife. That's more than one wives. Anyway, yeah, so only if he can handle it. But my dad could not, and he should not have done it. Anyway, but he did it, and my mom should not have gone into that.
And they were both Christians, right?
No. So my mom was not a Christian when she met my dad.
Okay.
Eventually, she gave her life to Christ, and I thank God because she was unable to introduce us to Christ early. But again, the mistakes were made already, and then there were consequences.
Am I able to ask about how your mom grew up? Maybe that might also explain.
So she grew up in a household of. She had both parents in the house, but she lost her mom early. I don't know, she was maybe like 12 or so when her mom died. And she's the first child. So she ended up being and then her father was a seaman, always traveling. And so was never home. And so she ended up being the parentifying the child. So she ended up being a parent, and she got married early. Yeah. So anyway, so my mom should not have gotten in that situationship with my father in the first place. But then again, at the time, it was the norm. People did it. It wasn't out of the ordinary. It's just if a man can handle it, and my dad obviously could not. And
he was already married.
He was married, and it was, they had a whole ceremony. Legal wife, like legal marriage, like going to church.
To church?
They did all that.
Who just married them?
So that no. I'm saying my dad when he married.
Oh, okay.
When he got married to the
first one. Okay,
yeah. So in our term today, it would be a side chick.
Yep.
A side chick turn.
Baby mama,
so the idea was not to be a side chick. The idea was to be the second wife. And it's just that, so it wasn't like they didn't have an arrangement, because she was introduced to the my dad's family and all of that. But you know how they would do it, they'll go behind and not, and the other wife, I can't talk about her, she's late now, but my dad is late too. And she was a very cantankerous woman, actually. Let's just call it spade a spade. She was unhappy with herself, unhappy with the whole world. At least that's my side of the story. There are three sides to the story.
I'm sure her kids will see her differently,
Yeah.
I think that's the complexity of us. Like, we may have different sides we show to different people. Because she was watching as well. I mean, this is somebody you profess to love for the rest of your life. And they went there and they got somebody else pregnant.
Yeah. Well, so technically they were married, but ideally they were not. You see what I'm saying? So, and then there were many times where, not many times. I had 2 encounters with her. So the first was my father's birthday, and she would not let us come to that birthday party. And my father could not do anything about it. I was so mad. My thing is, if you want, just stay away. Don't come near me. But you still keep coming around. What's the point? You can't defend us. I don't. So for me, and that's one of the things, that's one of my hang-ups about, if a man cannot defend me, it's a problem.
I know you're very particular about this. Like, it's a trigger for you.
It is. It is. So anyway, so going back to explain that, oh gosh, I can't speak today. Anyway, going back to that story, so then the neighbor comes to the door, she knocks and then says what she wanted to say, and then she left, but not realizing that she had just opened up all these unnecessary, emotions. Just, I'm angry, I'm crying, I'm feeling like, literally the person they refer to as Omwale.
A bastard.
So it's... the first time, and the second encounter was when my grandmother, mind you, this grandmother of mine, growing up, we didn't know her on the same streets. We didn't know her.
But she knew of you guys.
Yep. And
this is your dad's mom.
Yep.
Oh, that means she was probably taking the side of the wife. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So,
well, she was a good mother-in-law if you think about it.
Not necessarily.
No, if you look at it from one perspective.
Right.
She chose a side.
Okay, so from the other,
but at least the children should have been given a separate, she could have chosen not to do with your mom, but at least acknowledge the grandchildren. You know what I mean?
But guess what? She did eventually when she needed help. So people always
Really?
pick and choose sides only as it suits them. Yeah.
I didn't hear that part.
That's another story. But yeah, my grandmother was not. I didn't really like her growing up at first, but eventually I grew to like her. And then because again we were introduced to Christ early, so I knew to always honor.
This Christian relationship, I tell you.
You know, you can't know me. Like I've been like this for I know exactly what to say. I know how to say it, but you know, the love of Christ, it constrains us.
People don't understand how hard it is to be a Christian.
They don't have the faintest idea.
We have to love. We have to forgive. Are you kidding me? Look at how I just got hung up about a movie that was not even really 100% true. And I'm a Christian. Imagine if that happens to me. I don't even life. The struggles.
It's real. It's real. So my grandmother passes. And mind you, it was a traumatic experience for us because we literally saw her die. It was myself and my brother. We took care of her. We were the ones that would go, before she passed, we would go to Mama's house. That's how I learned how to braid. My grandmother, she was a braider and she sold fruits, yeleso. Yeah, you know, that's what they used to call it, yeleso. Yeah. And so, I learned, trading my grandmother and then how to braid for my grandmother. And then she got sick. And then, a very agile woman. Suddenly she's bedridden.
How old was she?
Mama died when she was 70 something.
She's quite old like that.
No, she wasn't. And so she's laying in the bed and she's, defecating on herself and she can't control it and all of that. And I'm and this woman comes, eventually Mama passes on. And then this, my father's wife comes around and then it's the wake keeping, right?
Don't tell me.
And she was like,
don't tell me.
Oh yeah, she did. She went there.
No.
And mind you, at this point, I'm 18 years old.
No, you know so much more. You're not like that little child anymore. That can defend herself.
No. And so there she comes, talking about Jimmy, and that they shouldn't be here.
Like, are you moving mad, ma'am? Are you moving mad?
Are you moving mad? Like, no, seriously. I mean, I was literally charging towards her to say,
never in your life, ma.
Never in your life. Come here, Mwale. Talo Mwale. At what age? Talo Mwale. So...
and that, for those that don't know, like, if you're not African, like, it's very Nigerian, there's a heavy connotation to call somebody Omwale. Like, it's... don't even try to say it unless you have proof. Even when you have proof, be very careful because your mouth could be snatched or you will just collect. It's really it's a deep
what.
You collect what.
Wait, is that a good word?
What. I think you just collect shit. I think, but what? Yeah, I mean.
Oh, okay.
It's just another way.
No, because I thought it's a connotation for sex.
I know what. Well, from what I have, you collect what it means you will collect anything like anyhow.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure because before I'm not collecting.
No. What is like violence? Like you say the wrong thing, you'll be fixed right away.
Right away.
Yeah.
So I was trying, and my brother pulled me back. You know that this woman refused us attending my grandmother's funeral.
Oh, come on, that's
and my
low,
father did not.
Wait. What was? Hold on. What was your father so passive? Has he always been like that?
So that's the thing. My father is and that's why for me, men who are not manly, I can't do it. Yeah, so that's why. Maybe I guess now you see, because if you cannot fight for me, if you cannot defend me,
I can't. Just be by myself.
Because guess what? I will defend myself, and I will fight for myself.
If I'm defending myself, it's even worse. If you're not there, nothing to me. If I can defend, I would just take it to my ability.
Exactly. My mother. Yeah, and my mom was not there, so she couldn't say she was fighting on her behalf. So my father just acted as though, no. Yeah, so, and yeah, that's what their mother did to me and my brother. And guess what? They wouldn't let us ride with the family to Ijebu. We went on our own. She wouldn't let us sleep in the family house. So we went there that day, we left that day. You can imagine. Proper Omwale. Like that was a treatment.
You were even able to pay her your final rights. Pay your final.
But by the time we got there,
Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah. So even and then before we knew it, she went to Mama's house. She took everything. Meanwhile, she never showed up. We were the ones that took care of Mama for years.
Did Mama have a will? Did she have a will?
No. She came, took everything. Didn't even think that, I'm a female. Maybe she'll get. I have a stepsister. She only had one girl.
Well, that's the only child she had?
No, she 6 of them. Let me tell you. So I actually have a younger brother on my father's side.
Girl.
Because the first, so she felt that she mistaken when my father had my brother with my mom, right? And then she was not accepting the fact that it's actually a second marriage. So then I came along, and then she was like, okay, I'm alone. So I actually have a younger brother.
What the heck?
There's a story behind that.
What kind of job was your father doing? Did he have all the money to take care of all these kids like this?
My father did well. He was actually quite. He did well, but then again,
What was his job?
He was an accountant. He worked for story. When you are finding, so I remember when I was in, was it SS2, and we had gone for this EcoBank competition, and so we went to this the EcoBank building, right in Ikoyi or Victoria Island or wherever. Anyway, we got there, and this lady sees me. No, this guy, the gatesman or the security guy, saw me and was like, "What is your name?" I was very shocked. Like, why is he asking for my name? Because I look like my dad. Yeah. I was like, "What's your name?" So I said my name. I was like, what's up there? No. And I was like, really? It did. And I didn't know. Do you know how embarrassing I was 16, or how old was I? No, Tolani. But it's thank God for Solid Foundation Ministry. It was that year, but I lost my grandmother, that I came to camp. I came to camp broken. I came to camp full of sorrow, I was mad, I was angry. I felt so alone. My mother was not around. She was in Abuja at the time. And so it was just myself and Biola.
Your brother.
Nobody defended us. It was glaring to me that, really, Bimpe, Omwale, that description, that's exactly what it is.
That's not who you are.
It's not. But at the time, I'm just, just recounting that experience. It was tough forgiving my dad. It was, because I did not ask to be in that situation. And if you were not man enough, how dare you bring me into this situation? So...
Towards the end, what was the relationship with your mom and dad like? Did he ever acknowledge?
So I remember when I was maybe 5 years old, Mama it's okay, he would lift me up and he would say, I've been cuz. Yeah. Yeah. So wait, there was another nickname. The man claiming by nickname. I've been Kuzaman. I think I've been Kuzaman. So and he would lift me up, and even till he passed on. That was the nickname he would call me. Eventually, again, my mom, like I said, I learned how to forgive people through my mom. Just seeing her, she lived it, and it was cordial. Their relationship was cordial, and one of the reasons I didn't invite my dad, because I was like, "There's no way you come to my house. You now be doing husband and wife in my house, and then so that's one of the things I regret.
Yeah. So you could have brought him to the US.
I could have, and that's why, just the other day, my friend asked me, "Well, why don't you just have a child?" I was like,
"Have a child for
you have no idea,
just by yourself."
Just I said, actually afford it.
Yeah, but
we will just live within our means, but still, people are doing
Can
it.
You do it though?
And people do it, but I could, but just knowing where I come from.
I see.
My story.
I see. But you also be different. It's not like you're having that child out of wedlock. It's more like maybe go through a sperm donor. Like it's a different. But I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
It's just it's if you're not ready, don't do it. Don't bring a child into your mess. Figure your crap out. Because when you start dragging kids into it, it's just unnecessary. It's selfish. Yeah. Like this whole, which brings us to this other rumor now that we've been hearing.
No. I ain't ready for that one. Allegedly.
I know.
Allegedly.
You know,
you know what? For their sake, I hope it's not true. But if it were to be true,
for their sake,
it still doesn't. How will I put it? It's humbling. You know.
It's humbling. I cried to God that day when I read that story. I went to God. I said, Lord, I need grace.
It's humbling.
I need your help.
It's just humbling to see that people go through this kind of issues. You know.
And then unfortunately it's in the public,
which is why
they can't even deal with it privately.
Which is why I'm saying, if all of our bad deeds were put out there, do you think any of us will still be on this, internet and be talking? You know, that there are celebrities going through what is like a scandal, alleged. I'm going to throw the word allegedly around because, again, they are still innocent until proven guilty. Not that we even if it was guilty, who are we to
to judge anyone? I literally, as I went to God, I said, Lord, please help me, give me grace. Because the temptation, you could come and know the story.
I thought about you, like the times when you would tell me about your married friends asking to come. I'm like,
the temptation is real.
If he doesn't deem you enough to marry, why are you being used as a side chick?
Yeah,
I don't understand it. But you know what? I'm not gonna say it's easy. If there's a connection there, you can always restart, because there's a thing that if you've slept with somebody before, not that it's applicable in your case, but there's always that ease of entry. The barrier to entry is lower, because you've been there before. It's just the same.
You've been there, done that.
Like, I don't want to increase my body count. You down for some? But, hey,
Yeah, it's Lord have mercy on all of us, and I pray that if indeed it's true, I pray that God will grant them peace, because that's just horrible.
I don't want to. It's just so.
Another day. We'll wait till it's confirmed, or.
But for their sake, I hope it's not true. But whatever. At the end of the day, it still doesn't change the fact that God is God. Love is still real, and don't look unto people for salvation. Do not. We're heavily flawed.
Because men at their best, they're still men,
and some of them are like
we're flawed.
Deeply flawed, yeah.
We are flawed, yeah.
But overall, you know what? I'm thankful for your life, Bimpe. That I know this, even the way you just glossed through the story, you're making it seem like this was heavy stuff for you.
It's when I think about it, eventually I had a good relationship with my dad. But it wasn't a typical father-daughter relationship.
It cannot be.
But we were friends. We were friends. I was really sad. Every now and then, surprisingly, I remember this one clearly. I was in the shower, and then I just remembered, and I just broke down. So this man is not going to call me again. Yeah.
What was it like towards the end of his life? And are you at liberty
my daddy was a good man. Yeah. It was a good man. It was just, again, like you said, it was flawed.
Did he ever apologize to you, genuinely?
No. But
a Nigerian man.
Towards the end, there was something that he did. He tried. He knew that he couldn't help us, because at the time when things, Ojuwon to go to Kalojuwon, right? It was already bad financially. It couldn't really help us financially. Unlike this Sista story, where the guy was buoyant financially. That was not my father's story. By the time it came around, it could barely get by, and he introduced us to his friend who had money. And the first thing that man said, that he could not believe that my father, he mentioned my father's name and said that any ye only hide the kidney phone. Because my father, so I used to hide my gist because I didn't want wahala. So a very, very loving, carefree
I didn't hear that part. Your father never told him about you guys.
He never did. So that man was very surprised that he could hide such a secret, because again, he's very liberal with the things he shared. Yeah. So yeah. So and then again, that shame washed over me in that conversation again. I just felt like, my God, I'm not someone
that you can hide. Yeah, I was like a secret to be kept.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was, so I knew that he made that gesture because that was his way of trying to atone, of trying to, I can't help you, but I know someone who can help you. Did
the guy help you guys with anything?
He did. Mr. Oguntade. Well, I said his name.
He's still alive?
He did. I don't know. In his own way. But guess what? The woman that my father was married to must have found out.
Oh my God.
And then suddenly he withdrew. He started withdrawing. That we would call him on the big call. So we knew that Yamiwa has gotten to him again. But anyway, but then the Lord did what he could do. That only he could do in my life, and that was
salvation. It's not. It doesn't come from men, when
it doesn't. Yeah. And the help that came that time, again, thank God for the visa lottery.
Oh yes, and here you are. I'm sure we'll have thunk, right?
Yeah. So it's talking about it. It's heavy, but it's my story.
It's your story.
It shaped me.
Do you think it affects how you see men? I know you're very careful when it comes to relationships. What part of this would you attribute to your natural cautiousness towards, relationship with the opposite sex versus, this is from some childhood things that you went through?
So, how do I mean, so again, like I said before, if a man is not manly, I don't want to I beg, don't near me. I can't deal. Because I can't. I really can't. I really can't. I don't have the bandwidth for it. I do not have, don't come near me. Stay in your lane. I respect you. So there's that. So it's made me, I guess I can be hard when it comes to that. So I know that I could do better in that regard, because I'm just, if you're just not manly, I don't mean for you to have more.
Guys, I know what you mean.
Not that. Just when it comes to character, be manly, be stand for something, be able to defend it.
And defend your wife, your person.
Yeah. Whoever you are with, be a defender. And I know it's God that watches over all of us.
And no mama's boy. No mama's boy. No mama's boy.
I don't want.
No mama's boy.
Because my father was like that. His mother spoiled him.
Was he the only child?
No, she had only 2 kids, and then her stepwife, her husband too, married other wives, and they had plenty children.
Oh, that's why she probably stuck to your stepmom.
Because she probably.
Man, look at the tangled web we weave. My goodness.
And it was so unnecessary because she could have broken the cycle. Look at this man
just doing all this, and then the women are there to be cleaning up on our fire.
And so because of that. Yeah, so for me, because of how things were growing up, I'm wary of people who, if you're in a relationship, any type of relationship, whether you're married or even if you're not married, I don't anything near it. No, I don't have a clean break. Then you can come
I know you've been approached a lot, and you always it's even the what's the word? The audacity for me,
yeah.
And
first of all, I was not a Christian.
Oh my goodness, girl! And the way they talk about their current spouses, I'm like, man.
Is a passion that they used to beat yawo, I'm having no yawo. Yeah, so I can't. So everybody should just take that.
What goes around comes around.
It does. What goes around comes around. Yeah. So, so for me, that, and I'm just more mindful of. I'm very intentional when it comes to relationships and all that, just because you can't be careless. And just because I like someone, then I'm just careless. No.
You gotta shine your eyes.
There are consequences. Yeah, there are consequences for these things. And yeah, as much as I want a child or want to be married, I can't do that to a child. I can't. Yeah, I know I have options. You know yourself.
I know.
You know yourself.
I know. For you, but
man, thank God for God. I
know, right? Because the sad thing will be if something that happened to you, your child should not go through that again.
Yeah. So I said, no, I told myself a long time ago, it ends with me. This cycle, this negative cycle ends with me. It goes no further. No. No. Actually, my mommy looked Paris. It's not in my life. It's never
your
gonna
mom, she wished on her life. I mean,
yeah, but my mom turned her life around, and that's a beautiful story. Yeah, so that we
can share her story someday, because she's
man.
I wish she doesn't look like what she's been through.
No, she doesn't at all. And you know how that scripture says that better is the end of a thing
than the beginning.
Girl. My mom, she's a living testimony to that. She is. I'm every time I talk about it, I see it, and I'm like, look, see what the Lord has done. It's only God. The Lord has done that song. It can only be God, and that's what happens when you yield your life to God. But I know that she still has lingering
desires, no dreams.
No, not dreams. Not of course those, yes, but like the effects.
Oh yeah. The residual shame. Yeah.
You know, she carries it, and I've told her, Mommy, let it go. You didn't know better. You didn't know any better. Now forgive yourself. You know, it's. Yeah.
And I think that some of them don't think about the cost of, and now I'm not judging your mom, but I think as a whole is like, even when, of course we should let it go once God has forgiven us, you know, Christ has wept. That thing we hold on to, that's like the cost of the actions we took. Like sometimes you ask yourself, at the end of the day, will it be worth it? The things you have to cope with at the end of the day, you know.
Do I wish that things were different?
Of course.
But in a way, it shaped me. I'm who I am today because of the things I experienced growing up. Yeah.
Well, so my friend, you are a survivor. A thriver.
We're bouncing to the music.
Really, like, you're someone that I know that when it comes to this, you know, like, you have every excuse to like engage in all this, because when those people come to you, they're coming at you. The force you use to chase them away is twice as much as just giving in, but you still stand your ground. And I know it's definitely God, you know, holding you back. And I think that's your mother's dream coming to pass, because you could have just easily carried on that family tradition, you know. But again, your mom broke that cycle, and here you are, just, you know. So I know that, you know, everything will work well for good for you. And I'm going to round this off by saying something my cousins shared. She, after watching Sista, she you know, cried about it because some of the things were moving. And I brought up that same old thing, like, you know, I didn't like how the guy just got away with it and got off so easily. She was like, you know, we're not God. You know, people will divorce their spouse, and you're waiting for them, their life to go to ruin.
Okay. And they prosper.
She even gave an example of somebody that I think they divorced, and then the guy went on to marry somebody, and you know, it was even throwing like a
he married her.
A baby shower, and then she was seething, like when she was like almost like,
no,
I left you, and your life is even incredibly better than, you know. So unless, this is a tip that I'm going to end, maybe it's not a good, unless the guy's life is, if the guy's life is going to be better than you're living him, don't divorce him.
Because they're going to say,
let's suffer together.
You were his problem.
We will repackage the resentment. Just kidding, but
it's tough, but
forgive. And that's hard, man.
Yeah. You're not doing it for the person. You're doing it's more for you than the person.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, going back to Solid Foundation made Samayowa, thank you. She was my monitor for that year. Yeah. And she counseled me, and she just said to me, no, you're not doing it for your dad, you're doing it for yourself. And that this is something that you have to do. It's not like you have a choice. She said, and it's a commandment that comes with a reward. If you want to live long, you have to honor your parents. It doesn't have to be your father.
God knew, you know, like it's like you letting go of something will make you, you know, live longer, because there's that analogy of holding on to unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
The other person to die. Like, just die already.
Okay, so the life might be actually better than you're living them, because we don't really understand what goes on, you know. So I guess more of the story is forgive, and if need be, find someone to talk to. Bimpe is not a self-made person. God has helped her to be in proximity.
I'm here by the grace.
Great mentors and people who influence her, and and also her personal work with Christ. So whatever it might be for you, just don't do life alone. But know that it doesn't matter how you came into this world. You're here now. So celebrate. I mean, I was born out of wedlock, and I hate saying that word, but that's how you would explain it. My parents were in mind when they had me, and it was quite a scandal. But look at me. Scandal. But look at me, bouncing pretty cat.
You are a whole pretty girl.
I got here. I'm here and loud, so
I'm here taking up space and spreading.
Yes, we're multiplying. Because guess what?
Yes,
it happened, and that was what it is.
Any which way, you have to come here.
So, anyways, that's, I think, any final thoughts before we?
I think you captured it all. Aptly, just saying forgive. It's so. It sounds like it's simple, but it's the most difficult thing. But you need to do it. You just forgive, let go, and just live life.
Let go.
And just trust that God's got you.
Yes.
He will fight for you, and it may not be the way you want God to fight for you, but He will fight for you. He will. Yes. But you have to forgive.
Yes.
You have to.
Yes. Yeah. And then I wanted to say, so I feel like we're just talking in circles. Yeah, but I think everything she said, and maybe this is a sign you're looking for, to let go of that thing you're holding on to.
It's not worth it.
This is life. This is your life. Don't let one person or two people or a group of people have that monopoly or major stakeholders in your life. Because when you don't forgive, you're letting them control you, which is laughable because
from wherever they are.
Yes, living rent free.
And sometimes it's even from the grave. They're still controlling
you. So
on the strength of that, something just those people just dropped this in my heart. For people who are always using the excuse of, because my father did not do this, or because my mother did not do that, that is why my life has turned out this way. That's why I don't have this opportunity in life, or I'm not harnessing this opportunity, or my life has Dori Kodobi Odo. It's you can't. There's only I know it's a lot of trauma, but you can rise from it. You can't stay there. You can't keep using that excuse, as your crutch. You have to let it go at some point. And I know I know it sounds hard and it sounds harsh, but it is the reality of life. You can't keep using that as an excuse.
And I'm glad Bimpe is one saying it, because she's walked that path, and it's quite a difficult one. So I'm just gonna let her say it, because
Yeah, because growing up, again, I know we're dragging this, but people could never believe that, I grew up in a single parent household. No, nobody. Unless I open my mouth and I tell you. No, it's just, you got to pick yourself up again. They'll say that, Alagemo ti bimo, ati de monjo. What's Alagemo again? Prey mantis. No, they prey mantis.
It's Alagemo. Is that not like a lizard?
No, Alagemo is prey mantis.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Alagemo.
Ati de monjo. Alagemo, it looks like as though they are dancing.
Yeah.
So that Alagemo has given birth to a child. However the child came to
Chameleon,
be.
Chameleon is Alagemo.
Alagemo is not chameleon, no.
Are you sure?
It's not chameleon. Alagemo is a praying mantis.
Yeah. I'm so sure it's chameleon. Okay.
Chameleon is something else. I don't think it's well, I could be wrong though, but I doubt that. I think it's I believe that it's praying mantis. Am I even saying that word correct?
Let me Google.
Google.
Why not? Google has girl. Really though?
Okay. I look for Alagemo.
Let me look.
It's praying mantis. Yeah.
Hold
up.
Wait a minute.
It's a chopper.
Oh yeah, it's praying mantis. You're right.
Yeah.
Chameleon is Oga or something. Oga. Yeah. Alagemo is praying mantis. Yeah.
Jackie, okay.
Is it because of the whatever?
No, she's running in her sleep. Jackie, okay. She cracks me up.
Anyways, it was nice catching up with you. It's always fun to talk with you about stuff and just explore different angles. And the beautiful thing is that we never know what conversation. Last time we were here, we talked about what's that smell underneath, and here we are.
I know.
Taking our way up literally.
Literally.
Oh,
my God.
Oh my God. Inside joke, guys. People is gonna get me cancelled one of these days. I'm gonna be cancelled, and it's gonna be all people's fault. But anyway,
oh damn!
Thank you. We should bring you back. I don't know what we have. Oh, by the way, before you go, so Big and I are gonna be having a segment of the podcast where we just do things like that, but just in a very more relaxed way. Might even get a bit more intimate about some of the things we're exploring, or just about life, but because we want to make sure this is quality, it's gonna be behind the paywall.
Excuse me.
Yes. Not like
we have a conversation. You walked into that. You walked right into it.
To keep maintaining the same quality we've had on the podcast. Thanks for calling that out. Yeah, to keep maintaining that same quality, and to also pay for her time. I know she would do it for free, but just to, a little chump change isn't bad. So yeah, we're gonna put that behind the bill. FYI,
multiple streams of
episodes
income
are still gonna be free, but the segment we've been playing will just be something like a spin-off where we'll just take stuff. So keep an eye out for that. But in any event, girl, I love ya. And I'm so proud of your life, and see, look at how far you've come, and this is even just we haven't barely scratched the surface, because there's so much more greatness. So thank you,
my sister.
Thank you, sister. Let's have a life. So you guys go watch that movie, and maybe you could give him more.
And shout out again to Beyond Steven. I love you.
Big loves you. Big is doing the what's the word? He read for you like the gospel of Beyond Stevens. Yeah. And well, this was the episode with Mo and Olabimpe.
Yeah,
Olabimpe. Catch you guys on another episode, and I remain your host, Mo. Love ya. Bye.
Bye.
Right,
you didn't even comment on my teeth. Can't you say it's pearly
your teeth
white?
have always been pearly white, girl. So
no, it's whiter. It's pearly whiter.
So you know why? I saw it, but I saw your lipstick also created like a contrast. So you went to go and do white.